You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Are you ready to learn the 3 secrets to launching a successful podcast? Hi, I'm Bill, a recent client of the Podcast Mogul. If you've been thinking about starting a podcast but aren't sure where to begin, he's got you covered. He is hosting a free webinar where he will share the 3 secrets that can help you launch, grow, and monetize your podcast without any fancy equipment or technical headaches. Click the link in the show notes to save your spot now and let him help get your podcast off the ground.
Welcome to Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. Join the Podcast Mogul Phil Better as he interviews successful entrepreneurs that make their living in the digital world. Now, let's join your host, Phil Better, and his special guest today on Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. I am, of course, your host with the most, Phil Better. And today's guest, I am very, very happy to have because I have 1,000 questions regarding this subject because, as my fans know, I don't really have all that great fashion. But my guest today is a former fashion designer with over 10 years of experience in the industry, a published author, and co-founded a great product for people who are not sure how to become fashion sensible by this great platform called Style Space. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to have Jenny Eversole on the podcast. Jenny, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Phil. Thanks so much for having me and for talking shop about entrepreneurship. And I love what you're doing and like the guests that you bring onto your show. It's really great. It's a great resource as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, I love it because it allows for people not only to know about the vast different ways of entrepreneurship you can have right now online, but also accessible tools for entrepreneurs that want to build their business. I have these amazing entrepreneurs I can help. Like the fashion industry, as most people know, is incredibly cutthroat and insane. And that's just what we see on the outside, not even knowing behind the doors. But I want to know, how did the fashion world call to you?
So that's a very interesting question. I was not really that type of person that was cutthroat, Devil Wears Prada type person that was drawn to go and work for a big fashion house. However, I did love designing things. I have an art background. My mom is an artist. My dad is a business person, and they made really crazy children. To both worlds. So yeah, all of my family were all entrepreneurs. There's 6 kids, and my parents and all of us are all entrepreneurs. And we kind of just most of us did the corporate route at some point, but we all just kind of like were drawn to entrepreneurship for so many reasons, just like our personalities. I think we just have to run our own ships and do our own idea, like get it out in the world. So I was organic farming for a year. This is where my entrepreneurship, like I was in the corporate world for nearly a decade and learned a lot of great things. And then I just felt like really overworked and underappreciated.
Yeah.
You know the story.
It's a common one I hear in my entrepreneurial stories.
I just felt like I needed a severe detox, and I went on an organic farm journey for an entire year. And I literally lived among Amish communities, and not like on their farms, but like I would go and butcher pigs with Amish people, literally. And
that is quite the detox.
Yes, it was. It was crazy. So I went from like corporate environment wearing like stiletto shoes and, cute outfits to like, okay, let's go butcher a pig. Let's learn how to grow my own food, build a house, and also make my own clothing. I stayed on a sheep farm in Vermont, and Kim Goodling was the shepherd who taught fashion designers from New York City how to do a textile art called felting, where you take wool fibers and silk fibers and you rub them together with your hands, soap and water, and the fibers will merge and become one. And so I learned this technique and developed my own style and became a very well-known felt artist, a textile artist. I published my own book on it. I did that for about 10 years and sold my wearable art pieces to fashion collectors from all over the world. And like, it was a unique entry to fashion because it's not really what you're thinking, like Devil Wears Prada, like, and runway fashion. Like, I did runway shows, of course, but it was not like your typical fashion. It was more of the art appreciators that like collected my pieces, and they were pretty expensive pieces. So only a few people could actually purchase them. And I only, made 200 pieces a year because it was very time and labor intensive. And I loved that journey. It was such a really precious time in my life where I like learned about entrepreneurship, I didn't even know how to start a business. I basically just had to make a phone call to my family. Like, how do I start a business? Like, just go to the town hall and like register your business. It's super easy. And I just learned that you just have to ask questions to the right person. And there's always a person or Google who can answer your question. And so I learned so much in that aspect. And then the way that I started Style Space, which is the current company that I have now. So basically I had so many people asking me for fashion tips, advice, styling advice. And it wasn't about like, what brand should I wear, but it was like, how do I put these pieces together? Like, how do I look confident? Where am I going to wear this? And I would always answer them. And they were always wondering like how to find a convenient way to get styling like this. And I worked with also professional stylists. And I would always ask, like, why aren't you styling everyday people like me? And they said, well, where and how? And so I wanted to create a platform that bridges the two worlds together to make a convenient, accessible, affordable way to connect with an expert stylist. And the way that we can be so affordable is because of the technology and the platform that we have built that brings people together like in a really easy way. There's no travel involved for the stylist. There's no meeting point for the individual. Like, you don't have to go and drive to Macy's, for example, to go and like look through the looks that a traditional stylist would do. Everything's virtual. And that is the new way that people are shopping for their beauty products and also their style. And so I do have a story behind how I actually got the idea for Style Space, if you're interested.
Oh, I'm always interested.
You're always interested.
See, the stories that entrepreneurs bring to it will inspire someone else. Because I love the fact that you're building this platform where you have these professional stylists that usually cater to higher end individuals, because those are the people who usually can afford to travel or pay for someone to come travel, accessing to the average Joe, in essence, or average Jane, pretty much, right? And so these average Janes can then take, I hate the term average Jane, but the everyday person can then take their style and feel elevated for, X amount of money a month or something like that, because they have access to these people who cater to the rich, the people, the elite, if you will. And now they can become and feel, because as science has proven, like when you start to feel something, you start to think it and you start to create it. So if I can start looking and feeling like $1 million at $99.99 a month, then I'm going to start acting like I'm $1 million and I'll end up attracting it. I love it. So yes, 100%. I want to hear the story, because I'm pretty sure you're going to inspire someone else to create a different type of platform.
Honestly, like, you basically just summed it up, Phil. Like, ultimately, like, we become the best versions of ourselves when we present ourselves in the best light. And like, the way you think, the way you feel is what you ultimately become, and the kinds of opportunities you will attract because of it. So back up 5 years, I have twin girls, and when they were born, I, for the first time, did not feel like myself. Like, my body was just so different. I my role was different too. Like I'm trying to run this fashion label, and I'm also trying to like take care of newborn twins that were like, there were complications in the birth. And so I was a wreck.
you were at the end of your rope. You're like, I don't know how I'm doing anything, but I'm surviving.
Yeah.
And that's all that matters right now.
Yeah.
And
And
on
so many
top of it,
people
you're
are,
dealing with the like I knew my sister had a relatively easy birth with my nephew, and I know how she felt afterwards. And I can only imagine adding on top of it the complication, plus you're running this label, plus you just don't feel like you're, wow.
No, yeah. And I was basically invited to come on TV and represent my fashion collection. And I said, okay, sure. And then I'm like, well, what in the world am I going to wear? I am a fashion designer. I should know these things, but styling is a completely different art. And so I called my sister, who is a stylist, and I said, Alicia, how am I going to go and do this thing? It's in 2 hours. I have to go to the studio still. Like, style me. And so she told me like what to wear, what colors would look best on me, the makeup I should wear as well. She's like, add a little bit more highlight there. And she guided me through the whole process, and also hair. And in 30 minutes, I was a transformed individual. And like my confidence literally returned. My, like who I was came back. And that person was a little bit lost for like the 3 months post delivering twins. And I stormed into that interview room, like that TV studio. Like the nervousness was completely gone, because I'm like, I am myself again. I am ready to own this TV interview. And it was the best performance I've ever given on TV. And I came away with an idea. Like, if this could make such a difference for me, someone who actually has like style and fashion consciousness, like what could this do for other people? And that's where the idea came from. And like, it's quite similar to what I was doing before, where, you know, in fashion, I just wanted to help people look and feel their ultimate best versions of themselves. And if that was through a tool of like a really beautiful art piece that they're wearing on their bodies, that was how I did it. But now I want to reach a much broader audience through a platform like our Style Space.
I love the idea of how you went first. You had to be selfish because you had to take care of yourself by learning this craft, and you're like, I'm going to just sustain myself. And you learned so much from creating your artwork pieces, and that gave you the confidence to know, okay, and the connections probably to connect to your co-founder, John, who I definitely want to talk to eventually, because I want to hear his side of his journey as well, to coming on to Style Space. But it also, then you realize, like, now I want to help other people. You've helped yourself. You've gotten yourself to a place where you're happy. And now you're like, now I need to help other people. I love that, because that's when the biggest impact in the world happens. Because with you helping someone, who knows what's going to come next? Like, that person feels like $1 billion. They can go on and invent the like nuclear fusion or something. I don't know. But you can help them feel confident when they give their
like style is like, it's literally for everyone and everybody. Like, it's not exclusive to an age or a gender or a life situation. Like, it's for everybody. And like, we style for every occasion, like whether it's a wedding or a pitch that you're doing to a VC, or you're just looking for an update in your closet and you're trying to minimize like the decisions that you have to make every day. You know, streamlining your wardrobe is the best way to save time and anxiety in the morning. You just go directly to boom, boom, boom. Great. Okay. Awesome. Yeah. And by the way, my co-founder is actually my husband. And John Eversole, Jenny Eversole, John Eversole. Yeah. And
you know, Phil would have realized that if he didn't look too far. No, yeah. Because I was concentrating on you. So I saw the name John. So I'm like, okay, John is
yeah. And yeah. I pitched the idea to him. He just thought, wow, why didn't you tell me this earlier? Because I had shelved the idea because I was just so busy with fashion and design and doing all my shows. And he's like, and finally, like when COVID canceled all of my fashion shows, I was able to like entertain this idea again. And I just pitched it to him on our 5th wedding anniversary. And we were supposed to be in Japan, but instead we were eating pizza by the river in Germany. We live in Germany, where expats live. And yeah, basically there was no other place to eat but outside by the river because everything was closed. And so I just pitched this idea and he's like, wow, that's the best idea I've ever heard. And we need to do this together. And we went home after our date anniversary 5-year and just started doing a Google Doc and wrote our business plan together. Like he was next to me. We were on the same table. We were just writing. And yeah, that's basically where Style Space started.
I love it. Again, it's another great story, like a couple building a business together, strengthening. My God, you have a great story.
It's fun. Yeah. And just to think, we were so bummed about the pandemic, our shutting down our whole world and not being able to go and celebrate in this dream vacation we had to go to Japan. We had dreamt of going there, since we met. And yeah, but had it not all happened that way, Style Space wouldn't exist.
It's true. So a very good silver lining out of the darkness that was COVID. I'm curious. For people who you left the corporate world, you went into the fashion world, so you changed roles, and then you went into a different area of the fashion world. Did you have a tip for someone deciding to maybe is in the fashion world wanting to go in
the fashion world, going into entrepreneurship?
Yes.
Okay, yes. Sorry, there was a little cut out there. No, I'm sorry. At 9:00 in Germany, the internet slows down a little bit because everyone's streaming videos. So, anyways, okay. So advice for someone that is in the fashion world wanting to break out on their own in the entrepreneur setting. So I would just say, if you have something to share with other people that is not currently being represented in wherever you're working in the fashion industry, try it out. When I first was questioning, should I be a fashion designer? This is a crazy question. I mean, I just went on a farm venture for a year, so that's crazy enough. But do I go back into the corporate world? Do I go and do the thing that I literally can't I can't even sleep because I can't stop thinking about this? Do that thing. Do the thing that keeps you up at night, literally. The thing that you're always going to question, what if I would have done this? If you ever feel like you're going to regret this in life, do it. I went to a show once, when I was debating, should I do this? I was just on at the crossroads, do I go here? Do I go there? And I just asked this really wise woman. She was a fashion designer. I'm like, is it worth it? And she said, you'll never know till you try. And she's so right. You don't know. And, life is it's way too short just to do one thing. And, entrepreneurship is not for everybody. And I know people that think I'm nuts for doing what I'm doing, for the amount of time and effort and stress and uncertainty that comes along with it. But being the captain of your own ship is just so incredibly rewarding for me. And not everybody feels that way. I totally get it. Not everyone can and should be entrepreneurs, and not everyone should be corporate executives. Everybody should follow their own passion. And
I love it. It's very true. Follow your passion, be it working in a corporation and helping lead the next minds, or starting your own business as an entrepreneur. I love it. It's great advice, Jenny. And I'm wondering, in your journey so far, is there a memory that just sticks out for you? Something that just pops up, either the two plus years you've been doing Style Space, or in the 10 years that or 10 plus years you've been in the fashion world?
I would say one that just popped into my head that is hilarious. It's how Style Space actually got its name. And I brainstormed for days. As I was continuing to do my fashion designs, I was preparing for a show that would kind of close up that chapter, J. Hill Felt, which was my fashion label. And I was brainstorming what's the name of this thing gonna be? And I'm fashion, style, space together. And I would just throw out all these different names. And then I looked it up on the trademark website, because that was the criteria, it had to be able to be trademarkable. So it had an open trademark. Crazy enough, Style Space. It's a crazy.
That's
a crazy name. to trademark, and it
You know
was
what's
available.
funny? Probably hundreds of people thought of that name and just thought,
Yeah.
no, it's too good. It's probably already trademarked, and moved on. And no one took that extra step like you did to look.
Well, so believe it or not, Mattel once had a trademark on Style Space. Mattel. And they basically just went dormant. Like they did some kind of Barbie line Style Space, something like that. There were two like design firms that had Style Space. And then there was this one older gentleman. He was 69 years old, Greg. He owned the domain, and he once owned the trademark to Style Space. So my husband and I, we really used our negotiation skills and like our people skills. Like everything's about people and relationships and business and in life. And so we were in many different email exchanges with this man trying to get the domain, like trying to get him to sell it to us. Because if we don't have the domain, like it's not worth it. Yeah. So like stylespace.com. Yes. So we basically just used all different angles. Like he was very sensitive about his name. Like it was his baby. Like he built this photography company around Style Space. That was his name. And he wanted to know like our character, who we were, like what we were going to do with his name. Like, are you going to like live up to this name? And we had to like throw out every card. Like, I'm a fashion designer. He's like, check. I used to do fashion photography. And my husband's like, I'm a veteran. And he's like, thank you for your service to our country, sir. Like,
wow. Yeah. Like,
and he's like, what are you going to do with Style Space? I'm like, I'm so sorry, but I can't tell you. Like, we're still in the works of developing Style Spaces. So it's like when we were like still just brainstorming, but figuring it out. And yeah, we basically had to, prove ourselves. And yeah, and he also, he was really skeptical about technology, and he would not let us use a broker service to exchange the website. And so like not a small amount of money, we had to basically write a check for a personal check and hope that he would cash it in good faith. He also was taking a chance on us too. We could have written a bad check, and basically we had to just go online or go over the phone and exchange like this domain. Like they have a whole process of doing it. And yeah, it was a really funny process, but like it really solidified the importance of relationships to me. Like that was like the way that we started Style Space out. And we realized like, if we want to get anywhere with this business, we have got to put people first and like their motives and what makes them tick.
That is a great lesson. One, that's an amazing story. Like if you guys went through all that to get the name, then what are you going to do? How far are you going to go for the clients of your service to help them succeed and reach the goals that they want? So that's not a testimonial for how far you guys are willing to go. I don't know what is, but I love how this gentleman who owned the domain wanted to make sure that you would take care of it as if it was his child. Because he probably over like 69 years, probably not 69 years, but nearly 30 years, probably had that domain. And was
he bought it like in the late 90s. Like he was the first one to jump on it. Like it was, and the fact that he like was not doing anything with it anymore, and he had been given other offers that he just wasn't ready to commit to. Like it was really serious. Like when I kind of felt that way about my last company, though it was really successful, like I can't do both. I was the sole designer and CEO of my fashion label. And so, unless I teach someone my technique and take hours and a lot of investment, like J. Hillfeld is just going to be a hobby, basically. So yeah, but that was hard for me to let that go. But I really had to close that chapter, like permanently, like shut the door in order to step into the new chapter. And I feel like there's so many different life chapters. And after I wrote my book, that was like, it was award-winning, best-selling, like people really loved it. And it was kind of my way to give back to the design and the fashion community so that like I didn't die, like with the next chapter. And it was kind of like my mic drop. I'm like, okay, drop my book, ticket, you can learn anything you want. I literally put all of my tech. And
Wow.
if you want to be a felter or a designer like I did, if you went step by step through these tutorials in the book, you can learn as well. So that was like my way to, give back to the community and just not completely let it go. But yeah, it's hard to move on to the next chapter, but it's necessary if you want to take that next step.
It's true. I love that. Oh, such wisdom already in this episode. I love it. Like this whole episode, I'm just going to clip like just 5-minute clips of this whole episode. Jenny, we're coming to the end. I hate it because I have to say goodbye to you, and I hate saying goodbye to you. But before we do, we're going to do the seeker question. And okay. I enjoy this because it does play on with what happened earlier in your life with you switching roles to find out because you were burnt out. But how do you like to recharge your energy?
It's a good question. There's so many ways that I do and should and don't and sometimes do. Yeah, my best recharger though, if I'm just having like a completely like off day, nature, like we live really close to the forests. Like there's forests all over Germany. It's very green here. And I challenge anyone, like if you don't feel like a better person or feel better after a half an hour walk in the forest, like I don't know what's going to make you feel better. Like it's true. Well, the Japanese actually call it forest bathing. The doctors prescribe a forest bath or a forest walk, for people's mental health and wellness. So that's one way that I do. Also going for a run, getting moving, like get the endorphins going, be with family, be with friends. That's mostly what recharges me.
Jenny, I'm going to jump off screen here. I'm going to give you the last 5 minutes here. Please let my audience know how they can jump on Style Space, how they can connect with you if they have style questions or if they have questions about jumping from the fashion world into the entrepreneurial world. So the floor is yours.
Thanks. Yeah, so stylespace.com is where you can come to learn about your personal style. And personal style it's very empowering. It's an expressive tool that you can use whenever anybody meets you for the first time. In 7 seconds, people will decide whether they like you, whether they trust you, and whether they want to do business with you. And defining like what your personal brand is and how you want other people to perceive you, it can be really helpful to have a personal stylist to help you define that. So we have 50 different styling sessions in hair, clothing, makeup, and skincare. Men can wear makeup too, though you don't have to, but knowing a good skincare routine and the best products that will help your complexion shine is awesome. And the 50 different styling sessions can be anything from like simplifying your wardrobe, elevating it, dressing for a special occasion. And yeah, if you are not ready quite yet to book with a professional stylist on our platform, you can download a free ebook where you can, in 5 steps, achieve your dream style. So we go through different style essentials and wardrobe essential items that you can have. So that's my tips and advice.
I love it. I'm going to go download the book right now. Okay. It's going to make my life a lot. And I'm pretty sure my girlfriend's going to be very happy with me elevating my style to the next level. So she's not too like, why are you wearing that? We can't go outside. Change.
The gives all around, not just to you. Your loved
Jenny,
ones.
Yes, it's definitely going to be one. Jenny, I want to thank you so much for sharing your story. To my audience, make sure you check out the links down below. It's to Style Space as well as to the free resources that Jenny was talking about. If you're an entrepreneur, you need to take your style to the next level. So why not use some of the free resources that people are willing to give you? And as always, remember to invest in yourself.
Thanks for tuning in. Now it's time to take the next step. When you're ready to dive deeper into how to launch, grow, and monetize your podcast, Phil's got something special for you. Join him for a free webinar where he'll reveal the 3 secrets that have helped countless entrepreneurs succeed in podcasting. Click the link in the show notes to save your spot, and let's turn your podcasting dreams into reality.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.